It's a new year. Yes, it is. What's happening, everybody? I'm Steve, and welcome back to Junkdrummer TV, where I give my initial reactions, my hot takes, and my analysis on the drummers of today and yesterday, and maybe tomorrow if I stick around that long. I am a professional drum teacher and a gigging musician, and I have been those things for the last 20 plus years. So welcome to the first video of the new year. I took a little break there after Christmas because I needed it. And we're going to get right back into it. But before we get into today's video, I'd like to give everyone just a slight update about some of the things I'm going to be doing on the channel going forward. Firstly, I will always do the react analysis videos. They're my bread and butter, and I really enjoy doing them, and I'll do them until I don't enjoy doing them, and I don't see that happening anytime soon. But I'm also going to be doing a series of videos where I'm going to rejuvenate this roached out drum set that I bought on Marketplace. If you buy something on Marketplace, man, meet that person in like a public parking lot. I learned that, and you're going to hear about that when I do those videos. I've also been doing a once a month kind of music rap session live stream where we just kind of discuss music and those kind of things. Also, I'm going to start doing another sort of live stream that I think is kind of unique. I think I'm going to call it How the Sausage is Made. I've already done one. I did a live stream of me cutting a Rush cover and kind of showing the process, warts and all. I definitely made some mistakes on that video, and I'm going to do a few more of those. I think the next one I'm going to do a song that I actually wrote. And then that leads me to the newest thing that I've been doing on the channel that I'm most excited about. And that is the Drunk Uncle Radio podcast. If you haven't watched that, we've done 5 episodes so far. That's where I just talk about music and specific music subjects with my 3 much more talented friends, John, Adam, and Jimmy. This Saturday, we will be doing a full Rush podcast. Adam, who's on that Adam Jones, actually, who's on that podcast with me, he works with Rush. He has worked as a director and videographer for them on a couple different video movies. He actually edited La Cinema Strangiato, that thing they released in the theaters. And this Saturday, we are actually going to, and we've gotten the okay from the fellas, have a premiere announcement from Rush. So please check that out. Drunk Uncle Radio podcast. Now, as you've heard me say 106 times before, I think 106, that I do the videos of today and yesterday, maybe tomorrow. Well, we're going to definitely do something for the old heads, which I am one, and go back to yesterday. And of course, we're going to be doing Keith Moon. He's been asked about all the time, and I knew I was going to get to him. Keith Moon, there's no one like him. No one plays like him, because a lot of times if you play like Keith Moon, you're going to get fired. He's a stylistic, singular drummer. When you hear Keith Moon, you know you're hearing Keith Moon. There's not really much more that I need to say because he's one of the most fetished over drummers in the history of the world. He's probably on the Mount Rushmore. Live at Leeds is one of the greatest records ever been recorded. So let's just get into Keith Moon doing Heaven and Hell. And I actually picked this song because if you watch the channel, you know we love songs written by bass players, and this song was written by John Entwistle. And before that, please, if you think I've earned it today, I really need your help. The algorithm has been kicking my ass over the last about 2 months. So if you dig this, please like, comment, and share. And please give me a double tap on the subscription and the notification bell. But only if you think I've deserved it. So let's see if I deserve it. There it is. Let's just go ahead and start right there. That is the most Keith Moon beginning of a song that you possibly can play. This is the first song from the set. This is from the Isle of Wight. I've talked about in the past when I did like Zach Hill and Brian Chippendale that I think that their spiritual father is Keith Moon, and I think I'm pretty sure about that. And I'm not even sure if those cats even like would call themselves Keith Moon fans, but and Damon Shea too. All drummers that I've found out by doing this channel. Keith Moon is jazz influenced, and he's the most spectacularly overplaying drummer in the history of rock and roll. It's crazy. It's insane. It's a barrage. The way that Keith Moon plays his drum fills is it's a barrage of notes that come flying at you. I always feel like when I'm listening to Keith Moon, I feel like somebody's like taken like a basket of knives and just thrown it at me. That's what you get when you hear Keith Moon. You know, John Entwistle and Keith Moon is one of the busiest rhythm sections in all of rock and roll. In the 60s. That's a thing that he does a lot. He is a jazz-influenced drummer. He's from that era of drum set playing of the cats who started in the 60s. And what was the music that was popular before that? It was jazz music. Drum set players were jazz music until, you know, Buddy Holly and Elvis and Bill Haley showed up. Drum set players were jazz players. So, you know, you think Mitch Mitchell, you think John Densmore, you think Ginger Baker, you think Keith Moon. These are all jazz players first. And they took that aesthetic and way of playing and moved it into what was still, and by, you know, this is 1970, rock and roll is still a new art form. You know, it's like, you know, depending on what you think is the first rock song, it's 15 or 20 years old. The art of rock drumming is still being defined, and it was defined at that time by jazz guys. Mitch Mitchell was a jazz dude. Like, you hear, like, Manic Depression, that's a jazz dude. And anyone asking for Mitch Mitchell, I'd love to. Jimi Hendrix, whoever runs his music, copyright, blocks everything, so I can't. I would love to. Mitch Mitchell's one of my favorite drummers of all time. So, yeah, what he does a lot is he uses his drum fills to propel. It's propelling. He's constant propelling the song. If you'll notice, and hopefully it'll happen again, you know, Roger Daltrey will sing a line, and, you know, maybe we're in the verse where you would think, okay, I'm just going to lay down just, you know, simple groove over the verse. Well, Roger Daltrey will say a line, and then Keith Moon will answer it with insanity, with wonderful, madman type drumming in between those vocals. That's another big part of his playing, is like he did just a lot of just like riding the shit out of a wash and crash cymbal. All that triplet bass stuff, yeah, all that triplety feel, all comes from him being a jazz player. Let's go back and see how he's supporting this guitar solo. He goes into full on like uber drunk jazz rock animal, and he's playing with a jazz aesthetic under this solo. If you think about it, if you've listened to the great jazz players, and when the choruses come, they play, you know, fills and stuff to propel the solo along. Listen to this crazy drum fill that he plays underneath, where he actually plays over the bar line. He doesn't go drum fill, drum fill, drum fill, crash on the one. He plays over the bar line right here. Yeah. That's real jazz influenced. He's a fucking lunatic, man. This is a lunatic being a mad genius on the drum set. Here's another thing I always thought, and if you are familiar with, the history of like punk rock and thinking like British punk, like Sex Pistols and that kind of stuff, that was all in response to what they thought was overblown, bigger, larger than life rock bands like Fleetwood Mac and Keith Moon and Led Zeppelin, right? Keith Moon is their spiritual advisor as well. Like, just playing from your gut and saying fuck the rules. He is. That's another thing. Keith Moon never met a rule that he didn't want to break. If you know anything about his personal life, you know that really stands true there. But even though we are dealing with a newer art form in 1970, even if there was a rule, he wasn't going to fucking deal with it. Right? He was the first punk rock drummer. Yeah, you can say like MC5, the Stooges. I've always thought he was the first punk rock drummer. You hear a lot of those British punk bands slag these kind of bands. That's a British term. But man, The Who was a punk rock band. Them old heads gonna get pissed off about that. But that's where it started. You can tell, Pete and Keith are playing tennis. They're bouncing ideas back and forth. Like when I see like, the Who now or like the Who lately, this is the stuff where I wish you could still get, but now it's more like, it's an oldies act. God love them for still doing it though, and still wanting to do it. Yeah, man. I said this in the Zachiel video, and it's probably the biggest comment that I've ever gotten on anything that I've said. And it applies to Keith Moon. He vomits from his soul constantly. He does not take any measures off. Townsend's real man shit. John Entwistle just all over it. John Entwistle is so good. And dropped the pick from what he was doing at the beginning. Okay, we can do some little education right there. That is a lick that a lot of those jazz influenced cats played all the time. Single stroke 4. Get that? Get that? Get that? If you listen to John Densmore, if you listen to all those ones I'd mentioned before, he just played it right there. That is a lick that comes straight from jazz playing. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. You will hear that, like once you learn that lick and listen to this era of jazz players transforming into rock players, you'll hear that lick constantly. And just the physical exertion of this style of playing is exhausting. Keith Moon also plays Premiere like I play Premiere, because I love all things British. Okay, so I want this to come off correctly. And this is a very important thing that I need to say to you all. If you are trying to audition for a band, and unless they have a lot of Who characteristics about their playing, do not do this. Don't play like this. You will not get the gig. But here's the thing. That overplaying, over the top, just flowing of emotive drums that can be called overplaying is a primary element of the Who. When you talk about the Who, you talk about those over the top drums. There's very few gigs in the rock world where that will work. Now, here's what you can do, is when you go to play your good disciplined playing, and there is a spot for just a big old whipping your balls out drum fill, that's when you channel Keith Moon. And actually, I've been in the studio, I've probably 2 or 3 times, same producer because he's a Who fan, has been like, talk back, hey Steve, can we be a little more Keith Moon in this place right here? And that's always fun for a drummer to hear. Keith Moon, this is for all the old heads out there, and for any of you new cats, if you haven't heard the Who before, what are you doing with your life? It's one of the seminal rock bands of all time. Now, if you think of the Who as, Roger and Pete, kind of looking grandfatherly, playing on the BBC, that's the Who, but that was the Who. And if you want to listen to Who, that's the Who you got to listen to. So if you all enjoyed all that, again, please help me out with the algorithm, because my channel is kind of going on the crapper right now, but that's never going to stop me. The algorithm will never stop me making content, because I just enjoy it so much, and I love having viewers who enjoy what I do. And if I can just give you a little bit of an educational nugget by watching one of the greats, man, I've done a good thing for that day. So if you all think I have earned it and you have enjoyed it, please like, comment, and share. Give me a double tap on the subscription, on the notification bell. If you really dig it, maybe go check out my Patreon, go check out my merch table, and learn your Keith Moon drum fills. They're just so much fun. And if you want to have that kind of fun, you got to keep practicing until it's easy.